Hello, beautiful friends. So I felt called to sit down and do a quick reading. And as I moved my cards around, one jumped out, and the first card to initiate our reading here is the Knight of Cups. So, what I love about this knight is he's kind of Mr. Suave. He shows up with the flowers, he knows how to dance with courtship. And I was really curious as to what this was about because I didn't particularly go into doing a reading with any particular intention. So I started asking some questions of what does this mean in relation to Sacred Union? Why did this card come out? Now, what I do love about the Knight of Cups is that, it's a man who's ready for romance. He's ready to play, to engage, to explore how his heart wants to dance with the other. And so that's really beautiful. Asked what this represented for how we've been currently as the collective feminine, maybe experiencing the collective masculine. And I know for myself, I've been in some really beautiful interactions with divine masculine who are really exploring their own container and coming into some realizations, acknowledging their truths, connecting more to their higher selves and souls. And it's pretty neat. So what comes up for the masculine, the first card that came out was this Eight of Visions. Now in some decks, the Eight of Cups is like is a card of self-mastery or doing some things. And this is a little card of like disillusionment, right? So I feel like this is representative of where the masculine has been, running around in circles, kind of like, trying to find the way upstream, downstream, just kind of lost in the world of like emotional turmoil almost. And there's been a recent remedy of them really being able to look at themselves and their role of how it is that they're contributing to that dynamic for themselves. Whereas before they were putting a lot of that as if it was the feminine's chaos. That the feelings that the woman was bringing forward were a part of what was creating his inability to feel stable or to access this. So to me, this really feels like a river and a stream has opened up within the masculine in which they're able to sit and be with themselves. This is Two of Swords. That card's been coming up a lot as well in the Light Seers deck, which was there's like a blindfold and kind of like being guided by crows. In this one, I feel like, there's a light backpack. There's just like this like sudden reflection that appears of self. And, it's not in muddy water. It's in this really direct, here's right in front of you. You have to face yourself so that you can show up in this night energy. So I feel like there's been some like great realizations as it comes to for self-work. Now I was like, all right, well, what does this mean for the feminine and what's showing up for her in this process? And the first card I got was the Moonlight. So we've got all the hares dancing, these, mad hares, which I would say almost that for this deck, this is kind of a major, like, minor arcana sort of thing, except this is a much cleaner energy. Now, of course, the moon in the tarot is always a card about connecting deeper with intuition. And what I really see here with this rabbit is like it's connecting with this deeper, elusive world and trying to understand the difference of, for myself anyways, is the difference of fantasy and illusion and intuition and empathy and all of these different sources moving through and really getting clear on the self and soul of how to clean all of this up so that the vision becomes really clear. Well, I wanted more information on the moon card because it can be so elusive, and what we got was the Seven of Visions. So this is the card where, this is what this rabbit is looking into. It's like the visions are becoming clearer, there's more things starting to circle, there's more discernment moving forward. Now, sometimes this can be like there's so many questions floating around. What is it that we're really going for? So the other card that came out with this was the oldest one, which is the Hierophant, which we've also been getting. So in this trajectory for the feminine, it's like really getting clear on that own internal source, those internal wisdoms, getting like just clearing out the connection, really holding it down, and rooting in this higher dream, rooting in the visions, and holding them. So I feel like there's a lot of feminine holding right now that's going on in a really productive way, and I feel like it is this essence of holding the highest timeline, the greater good of all. So allowing everybody to come into these like higher, wiser spaces and do this alchemy together. Now, what's interesting is what I asked for about the masculine. I was like, okay, physically, how does this appear for the masculine? And what came out was the seed card, the Fool. Now, we've been getting this for the feminine for the last couple weeks incessantly. It's been coming up in almost every reading I've done. This seed card comes out. And so what I'm really loving about this is, to me, this is this representative of a fresh new start, this new beginning for the masculine that's moving forward. It's opening up. This self-realization is now becoming a little more playful, less scary. I feel like the masculine's less likely to just like disappear. So all of that feels really good and exciting. Okay, then for the feminine, we move forward to the Wheel of Fortune. And this is the Harvest card. And this is great because I feel like that's what this card is kind of saying. It's like all those dreams, all those visions, like all that holding, it's not for anything. Like you're in this time of harvest, of receiving, of really getting to enjoy like the plentiful amount of gifts. Now, what's beautiful is if the masculine is planting the seed and the feminine is getting the harvest, or these two things are going on simultaneously, this to me really feels like it. Plants the seed, he brings the goods. This is that harvest energy. It's the Fool comes forward, and the woman embraces the medicine, the play, all of that. I think it's curious that this card is called the Wheel of Fortune and Harvest at the same time. Because it just, there feels like a plentiful of abundance that's moving forward, of love and connection. Now I asked what this meant for the two coming together, and I got the Seven of Pipes, and I was very curious by this card and what it represented, because of course you've got the feminine here and the masculine, and they're both wearing masks. So what I kind of see is that there's this sacred dance going on, that's almost like, I was thinking about it the other day, of how we honor our so if we put on a mask, we're honoring the spirit of what it is that we are embodying. So, in tribal, if we were to put on this mask of deer, we'd be embodying the gentleness of deer. We'd be embodying the movement of deer. We embody within a process the sacredness of mask wearing so that we may respect the different ways of moving through life. And I feel like in this card we've got, the feminine is in, a four-legged mask, and the masculine is in a bird mask. And so there is this thing happening right now where the feminines have primarily been more in this like what I would perceive to be an expanded vision state, and they're grounding down and like now like walking the perspectives. They're walking the vision. So this goes right on point with the harvest and the vision cards and the moon. So it's like the feminine is walking the path. We are the four-leggeds that are embracing the creation that happened on earth, while the masculine is starting to work in this realm and in this space where they're circling around and gaining this wider perspective that then they can come down and see. Because I don't know about you all, but it's pretty hard to manifest something that you don't totally understand. And we are in a place where we're really learning how to take baby steps, or like planting one seed at a time, and really enjoying the expansiveness of creation. Now, I wanted more on the Seven of Pipes because I didn't get it right away when I first looked at it. And the card that came out next was Judgment, discernment. Okay, so, to go from the Seven of Pipes, this mask wearing, the Seven of Pipes is the Seven of Wands. And so what I'm really seeing with this is like this grander movement going on of clearing out the headspace, and walking a higher path is really the thing. I love that there's a sense of like, if there's a prayer to the land, there's an embodiment of the land, the acknowledgement that's going on. I feel like that's actually also an acknowledgement of the feminine and within her process. The masculine coming forth, or like going to the home, that the feminine has been holding, or this cultivation of like the home in which they both hold. It feels like an honoring fully of the feminine is really what I'm hearing, the honoring of the earth. Of course, we've got Earth Day coming up this week, so this might be an indication of both timeline, as well as our own sacred process and honoring, the beloved mother that holds us all, and, which allows us to be here and to create on this earth. Now, I asked again for a little more clarification on this, because this image could be a lot of things, and it feels like it feels very grounding while being expansive at the same time. So I was like, okay, well, what does the Seven of Pipes and this judgment or discernment bring us? And, for the union, we've got 10 of Bowls, so this is a 10 of Cups. This is a celebration. This is a coming together. This is a dancing. It's a movement. It's a prayer. So my placement in all of this and the encouragement for all of you is really to stay present in your process. The overall for the masculine is really like keep working, and of course this goes within us too, but to keep working on that light inside of you and that alchemizing of the shadow inside of you, and really having these honest reflections of, what am I doing that's contributing to imbalance within myself, within my connections, within my relationships, within the world at large, and asking these questions, getting clear. And then, the feminine, we're really just like about embodying the visions. This has been the ongoing theme, embodying, embracing, living, walking forward, bringing forth. And as we ground and the masculine is up there, I think more and more we're going to be seeing this meeting forces. And it appears that even in the physical, we might be getting out on more dates, which I absolutely welcome. I love getting to know someone and going out on a date. So the overall message and the final message of this reading is hibiscus joy. So we've got hummingbird medicine, we've got hibiscus, we've got just, a lot of beautiful, of course I'm in Kauai right now, and so there's a lot of like beautiful big energy that is circulating in our hearts and allowing us to expand and grow. So I know this has been the most grounded tarot reading I think I've ever done. I feel very in my body and in my presence, and I'm wishing that all for you. I think it's really important as we move forward, like to continue to be aware of what you're putting in your consciousness, and making sure that if you're watching these videos that I'm somebody who really resonates with your soul truth, and also whatever you're listening to, whether it's music or podcasts or other YouTubers or whatever, please be mindful of what you're bringing forward into your consciousness, because that impacts every day what you create. So I'm sending you so much love on your journey. Please feel free to reach out to me. Email is the best way, and I look forward to connecting when we do. Aho.